Despacito, cards are flying high. Shuffle up and deal, let the aces lie. Longest running show, yeah, we've seen it all. From the river to the rail, we answer the call.
Hello, A-Team, and welcome back to another episode of the Ante Up Poker Podcast, where every hand is an opportunity, every player is a friend, and every episode is a winning experience. I'm your host, Joe Scales, and if you're watching the show, you'll notice something new behind me. We've got this screen back there now for graphics, segments, maybe advertisers. Honestly, I've been a little surprised by how much the YouTube audience has taken to the show, and as that continues to grow even more, we figured it was probably time to give them something else to look at other than my face. Our audience really has grown, though. It's taken off over the last few months, and not just on YouTube. Last week, I mentioned that we finally hit that #1 milestone we've been chasing for a long time. Now the goal is simple. Stay there. So keep doing what you've been doing. Keep leaving comments. Keep posting reviews. Keep telling your poker friends about the show. Let's keep building this thing for the everyday poker player. And I'm going to keep doing my part to keep things fresh, whether it's the new segment intros, the new look behind me, or some new ideas that we've got coming up at some point. I put the latest issues of the Ante Up magazine behind me, so go to those. The latest issues are available out there on anteupmagazine.com. Some of you also may have heard about the changes happening over at PokerStars. They've joined forces with FanDuel, and from everything we've seen, it shouldn't affect our Patreon home game at all. It's more about their real money platform. But we'll keep an eye on that and let you know if anything changes. Speaking of Patreon, though, our next Hold'em game will be next week on the 12th, and the mixed game will be on the 26th. I'll be adding those to the schedule this weekend. Originally, I think we talked about the Hold'em game being earlier in the month, but I didn't want to be too big of a gap between the Hold'em and the mixed game. And with our travel to Arizona, that's what I was afraid was going to be the case. And don't forget, I'm also going to be spinning the wheel for the Good Karma seats this weekend. So if you're not on the Patreon page yet, this is a good time to jump in for the chance at a free seat. Jump over to Patreon, search for Ante Up Poker Media. Maybe you'll do what USC 1991 did and take your first one down, picking up the $50 prize and a little extra Ante Up swag along the way. All right. We've got another great one lined up for you today, and that's all I have for now. So let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the show, you're on the A-Team. Stack your chips and chase the dream. Joe's got the booth, his mic's on fire. Elle's got the laugh, she's taking it higher.
Elle and I are back around the poker table.
And people have the audacity to be mowing their lawn.
You know what? I was in the same boat. I was like, are you serious? It's March. Can we give it a minute?
No, it hits above 75 degrees in this region, and people lose their freaking minds when it comes to lawn care. I mean, it is.
It's true.
So now, of course, it's always that one person that, and then everybody's like, shit.
Now I
have to do it.
But I was outside playing with the dogs, and I was like, oh, actually, I do have to mow my lawn.
Tag, you're it. I'll help you get the sticks out of the way.
Okay, fair enough. I enjoy mowing the lawn.
You do. That's never really been anything that I can volunteer to help do because you like doing it so much.
Yes, I do.
So-
I do enjoy it. But let's get into a little bit of I don't know, unfortunate news in the mixed game community.
Yeah, our buddy Robbie Strazynski had to make a really difficult decision this week. And actually, that's why if you're watching via video, I'm wearing my Mixed Game Festival long sleeve. And
yeah, I've got the card player lifestyle patch there.
Yeah, and that's in support of Robbie having to make a really hard decision this week. We have a little fun with what's happening with us, and people around us are mowing the lawn right now. But in other parts of the world, if you've been paying attention to world news, that's not what's happening.
Right.
And Robbie lives and works from Israel, and so he was not able to make the flight from Israel to the US to be present for the Mixed Game Festival that he works so hard to plan.
He really does.
It takes a lot of different pieces and parts to organize a festival. There's sponsors, there's the players coming in. Resorts World, of course, was the location for it. So bottom line, if you were planning on going to that tournament, it is officially been canceled, and we wanted to be sure to help spread the word about that. But we also want you to please, please, please go to Robbie's website and read why.
Yeah.
Because it was a very intentional, very well thought, very difficult decision. And we just wanted to say we support you, Robbie. We're sorry to hear that you had to cancel, but we are supporting you, and we're happy to help you do anything we can in the future.
Yeah, he considered ideas of letting the festival run without him there.
We even messaged him and said, what can we do? We're in
Yeah.
Virginia, but how can we help you? Because we know what it feels like to
Yeah.
not be able to get somewhere that you need to get to. So
Right. And he just felt like, I'm not going to be able to be there. I don't know that it'll be fair to the players, the sponsors, and all that.
I think it's in the best interest in the integrity of the event itself.
Yeah, I
Did he
agree.
want to disappoint anyone? No, absolutely not.
Right.
And even his wife said go. There was no way for him to get here.
Right.
The airspace is closed. There were no flights. Sometimes you just have to make those hard calls.
Right. And it's especially tough. And he mentioned this in his article. It's especially tough when you have sponsors of the event. You feel like you're letting them down too. But, it's one of those tough decisions that has to be made. And, he made the call. And like you said, that's what we support him.
We support him, and there's good news. There is going to be another mixed festival. It's already scheduled. It is going to be at the Bellagio,
Yeah.
and it is coming up. What dates? May
31st.
Okay.
May 31st.
So
to June 11th, I think.
Yep, May 31 through June 11 in Bellagio, at the Bellagio in Vegas. Mixed game community, come out and support him big. It would be really awesome to see you guys there. I mean, that's also going to be when the WSOP is in town. So if you're already planning to be at the WSOP and you're looking for another opportunity to play, get down to the Bellagio.
Right.
For sure. I can't stop, won't stop talking about this cruise.
Right.
And you may be getting frustrated, so you can fast forward if you want, but
Please don't. Please don't.
we've gotten 3 really important questions this week that we wanted to be sure to address with everyone. Okay?
Right.
The cruise dates are August 11 through August 21. It
Right.
is a 10-day long cruise. You need your passport. We are going into the territory of British Columbia that is outside of the realm of the United States. So if you are a United States citizen, do you need your passport? Yes. If you don't have a passport, you need valid proof of ID and authentic, original
birth certificate.
Thank you. It's a non-negotiable.
Right. The only part of that that's not clear to me is if that's to be able to get off of the ship in those points or not. And I don't know, but just get your passport. Just get your passport. Make sure it's up to date because it has to be within 6 months.
That's really important. I've had friends who have been trying to get places. I have been trying to get places, didn't pay attention to the expiration date of my passport because I'm thinking, I still have time. It's not expired until blah, blah, blah. Nope. Has to be valid within 6 months of the date of travel, or if it expires just valid within 6 months of travel, period. Full
Right.
stop. You have to have that
Yeah.
locked in. So what am I saying? I'm saying hit the pause button and go check your passport.
Yeah.
Go check. If you're a U.S. citizen, if you're outside of the U.S., I'm not even going to begin to guess what the rules and regulations are. If you need a visa,
Yeah, you have to check with
you need to check and consult your government sites to be sure that you have all the paperwork in place. I've traveled to plenty of places where I've had to apply for visas, get all the extra passport photos, do all the things. So be sure that you consult those important government websites. You can always go to princesscruises.com and check out that as well. That's number one.
Right. We're already starting to see a lot of these cabins disappear.
Oh, yeah.
So
Flying off the shelf.
so
And
make
that's
sure
not
you
an
lock in that.
exaggeration. That's
Yeah.
not an exaggeration. They are disappearing. So
Make sure you lock those in if you are interested in coming with us. You mentioned going to Princess Cruises, but go there and check out those flash sales because those can save you some money. And if you see the flash sale there, call Don at the number on the website.
Poker Player Cruises website.
Yeah. And he will get you set up with that Princess Cruises flash sale.
Yes.
Price.
Now, also, if Don is unable to answer your phone call, you may get forwarded to voicemail because he's on the call with somebody else. Or if you're like, oh my gosh, it's over the weekend, I hope I can get in touch with him. If you're not able to get in touch with him, book with Princess. Just do it.
And then
Book
he can
with
switch it over.
Princess. Call Don. Let him know you're confirmed. You're booked on the same cruise. It's the Ruby Princess ship. And then he can get you in the poker room and you can work out all the details with him. So there is a little added fee to be a part of the poker cruise, and that gets you into all of our special events and into the room itself because our poker room is closed to the general public and you're not
Right.
allowed in unless you are on the guest list with us, and there is a small fee that has to be applied to that.
Right. And that's what I was going to say is even if you book with Princess Cruises, make sure you call Don and you get your name put in with us because if you don't,
We're not allowed in the room.
Get in the room.
Yeah.
So if this is still on your bucket list, if you've been on the fence, it's an experience. So, I mean, how many people have we talked to that have been like, oh, Alaska, that's on my bucket list. And so if that's the case, this is the way to do it. Join us. It's going to be so fun. I mean, I can't playing
You say
poker.
so fun. What? We're going to see glaciers. We are going to see the Northern Lights. We are going to get off the boat and tour towns that we've never even heard or seen before. So fun doesn't even begin to encapsulate it, Joe.
Fair. But I'm trying to even wrap my brain around playing poker and seeing glaciers and
it's an experience. It's a lifetime experience.
These Northern Lights.
I lived in Norway and never got to see them. So
really? You never saw them?
No.
I didn't know that.
Never got to see them. So I am 100% going to be out on the deck.
Oh, yeah.
You bet you. You bet you I will. The other quick question that we got is, when should I arrive for the cruise?
Yeah.
Okay. The boat leaves at 3. I'm pretty sure it's 3 p.m.
Okay.
California time.
Okay.
You need to be there the day before. It is standard protocol procedure recommendation that if you are getting on a cruise, that you arrive the day before. So if you've booked your cruise or you're thinking about coming on the cruise, you need to book your airline flight the day before. You need to get to San Francisco August 10th because it does a couple of things. It ensures that if you have any delays whatsoever, you're still going to get to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay. It also gives you a better start to your trip. So should you have a delay, no big deal. We're still going to get there. What did you miss out on? A little bit of San Fran. You didn't miss the boat. So I've had a lot of people go, what time do you recommend landing on the 11th? I do not recommend landing on the 11th at all. I recommend you get there on the 10th and then board the ship super stress free and go to the buffet immediately. That's what I recommend.
We're going to do that. We're going to be there on the 10th. We're going to check out San Fran, which I'm also excited about because I've never been to San Francisco.
It's been 25 years since I've been.
Really?
It'll be a quarter of a century trip for me. 25 years since I was there.
Yeah, that doesn't even seem fathomable.
Right. So I'm really curious to see how the city's changed.
Yeah,
I want to get down to
I'm sure it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I want to get down to Fisherman's Wharf. You want to ride the trolley.
I do. I want to ride that trolley.
I want to take you to Ghirardelli.
Okay. I didn't know that was there. The
Ghirardelli factory, yeah.
I remember a commercial. I don't even remember what it was for, but at the end of the commercial, it was on the San Francisco.
Probably Rice-A-Roni.
And the San Francisco treat.
Yes.
So yeah, I will grab some Rice-A-Roni and
I don't know what is that what it is?
I don't know. You said it.
That's what reminds me. Anyhow, we also cannot get through this show without mentioning this heater behind us.
The heater. It does put off some heat.
Golly, you forget technology. We got this really cool. If you're watching on the video format, we have this really giant screen, big thing behind us, and it's putting off some heat, baby. It is putting off the heat.
Yeah. The installation process of this monster behind us was
super fun.
It was an adventure. We'll call it that. I don't think it was quite as bad as when we were putting up the wallpaper, but
upgrades do not come without sweat equity.
There you go. That's a very good way of putting it.
Just telling you. Hanging this thing. We've hung it 3 times. Thank God you don't see. It looks like we have termites in our walls or something burrowing everywhere. If this thing doesn't work out, we're starting all over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. But obviously, if you're watching the virtual format, hang with us and see what we can...
hang with us. That's what you did there.
Be patient as we navigate this new piece of technology. You've been having way too much fun with it because it is really just a giant smart TV. And so it does so many things. Like I came in the other day and I was like, WPT has a game? What are you doing?
Yeah, well,
what are you doing?
I did not play it because I knew better. Because then we wouldn't get this podcast out at all.
I'm actually very impressed with your discipline to wait until the podcast is out to be able to check this out. It's some game where if you have a smart TV, check it out because obviously you're a poker player listening. You can start playing in like a small league and work your way up to like big tournaments.
Yeah, right? I don't know how it works exactly, but you create a character.
Oh, that's fun.
And then play the games, and you, like you said, you start out in a lower stakes or free game, I don't know which, and then you work your way up, and pretty soon, if you're continue winning, then you get to play in the top World Poker Tour tournaments, I guess.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to be working on my homework because I did bite the bullet and I signed up for Octopi Poker's 12-week MTT course.
Yeah.
Multi-table tournament course. That's what it is. And ultimately, I wanted to find a program that was structured, but not too structured. Because we have a busy schedule. I needed to be able to get to this studying. I cannot meet you every day at X time for certain amount of hours, right? So I knew with the schedule that I have, this works really well because it's flexible. So for the next 12 weeks, there is a Friday training. Today, I know I'm already behind, so I have to start working. The Friday training, and then every day a new challenge is released. And let me tell you, they've already been like, excuse me, you haven't done your homework.
Oh,
and
really?
I'm like, yeah, okay, I just started this.
Leave me alone, Mom.
Right. But the reason we even bring this up is 1, to hold me accountable to get this done. And 2, also to let you know that if this was something you're still considering, I have signed up. I have started the process. It is awesome. It's awesome. I mean, you get all of the benefits of a $195 professional plan for $90, number 1.
Right.
Number 2, you're getting direct training from Matt Hunt. I have absolutely adored him from the beginning. He's very easy to follow. He's very patient. He is not super over the top animated. And the other cool thing is that with that professional plan, I'm getting in there to use solvers. I'm using all sorts of things I've never even been able to access so far. And so I'm excited. You got to do a lot of reps. Like a lot. Like this is it's serious, but it's also flexible because you can work on it at any time. So if you're like 3 lessons behind, no big deal. You can knock them out. And you get to see progress, and data doesn't lie. So I'm super curious to see what my data says, because I think that's where we can have some really good conversation about how I'm making decisions and what I should be doing based on my position at the table.
Right. And we talked about you.
That's where I'm struggling.
We talked about last week that you were thinking about doing this, that you were probably going to sign up for it.
I did it.
And you did do it. I'm really curious to see how this kind of progresses your game. You are ready for this, even though I know it seems like it's overwhelming at first. I think once you get into this first class, you're going to see that it's not as overwhelming as you think, but you're going to think about poker from a whole different perspective. And I'm excited to see that.
I think I'm already gaining vocabulary because Matt Hunt uses vocab that I'm not familiar with 100%. I mean, he's been a professional for 13, 14 years now, I think, but I appreciate his style.
Yeah.
Of teaching. And so and really and truly, kudos again out to our Arizona ambassador, Dustin Scarra, because I think he's actually hired Matt as a coach.
Yeah.
And I can see why. 100% I can see why. And I can see where Matt and Dustin align.
Yeah.
And where they could match up. I don't think the same way that Matt does. I mean, I don't think the same way that Dustin does. But I can definitely see where I'm going to gain a lot from Matt. So I'm looking forward to and how they've set up and structured this class. I think it really meets everybody where you are. If you are somebody headed to the WSOP, this 12-week period takes you right up to when WSOP starts.
Right.
I'm excited to be able to apply skills early in Arizona, a little bit later in some ladies events, and then even later in August on the cruise. So he says this is mostly for tournaments, but poker is poker. You can apply any of these skills to cash games too. So it is focused on tournament play, but he also really reinforces that poker's poker. You still need to be able to identify what your opponents are doing.
Right.
And how you play the game.
I know you mentioned that you don't think the same way as Dustin, but at the same time, part of this class is talking through hands with a group. So it's not just Matt that's teaching you. It's the whole group.
It's a community.
Yeah. And I think that's important because everybody does think about poker a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. So it's really a cool thing that they include that with it as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you also what this means. Factor meals got to come back. Because I'm adding a whole nother layer to my week, which we're already quote unquote busy enough. And something that we just consistently are trying to work on is our nutrition. And some of this decision fatigue, like I'm making business decisions and I'm making poker decisions and I'm making family decisions and I'm making laundry decisions. And I don't want to think about
mowing the lawn.
Food. So secret weapon coming up. I can guarantee you, Factor, you're going to be hearing from us. And if you are in the same position, if you're trying to keep your energy steady during long days, you need to have balanced meals. You've gotten some decision fatigue. You can have something ready in 2 minutes. That's
my favorite part.
Bada bing, bada boom.
And the portions.
Ready.
Yeah. Yeah. The portions they're designed to not make you feel sluggish, right? They're the right portion size to fill you up, but not make you feel like you need to go take a nap.
Absolutely. And I struggle with that because I'm a carbs girl. I would love to have a side of protein with my carbs. They balance all this stuff out for you, make it really easy. There's tons and tons and tons of options that are available. So, if you're not a fan of having to go buy ingredients that you might not ever use again, taking the time to prep food. Sometimes there are times in your life it is okay to say, I don't have enough hours in the day.
Right.
And you might be thinking, yes, Elle, well, that also comes with a price tag. It does, but it's a very fair return.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think if you went and bought all the ingredients for making the meals that they provide, you would spend way more than what you would be spending on a Factor meal. And my favorite thing is you can try meals. Like
Yeah.
I love going through that like whatever spreadsheet of meals and going, oh, sounds really good. Let's try that. Meals that I would never even consider trying to make.
Agreed. And there's a big step in the right direction when you're thinking, I want to eat healthier, but I don't know where to start. Factor's an awesome place to start because you can test drive recipes without expending all of the energy and the thought process and the planning. So listen, head to factormeals.com/AnteUp50 off and use our code AnteUp50 off. And I know this is going to seem a little redundant, but the site is factormeals.com/AnteUp50OFF. And the code is AnteUp50 off. You're going to get 50% off. You're also going to get a free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor, new subscribers only.
Yeah. Yep. And it varies by plan. So 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check it out. After you've gotten your food, then you had something else that you wanted to bring up with this
oh yeah, they don't even know that I'm doing this. So participate if you would like. I am fascinated by this new Kickstarter called Pulse. I've been reading about it and keeping track of it for like, I don't know, probably the last month and a half.
Right.
I saw Poker News, shout out to Poker News, ran a story about this whole Kickstarter. It is basically how to take any table and upgrade it to a casino feeling table to play. You've got to have a mat rolled out.
Which we've used our mat.
It's a neoprene
numerous
mat.
times.
Yeah.
Numerous times. And this would be a perfect addition to that.
Right. But what does a mat do on your table? It just covers it. It does not elevate the rail
right.
of
like
the
table here. Yeah.
Right. So this Kickstarter called Pulse is literally these magnetic rails that just go around your neoprene mat that you already cover your table with. And I just think it's phenomenal. Gordon Lau is his name, who's come up with this. Since the running of the article on Poker News, unbelievable the support. So this thing is happening. One of the things with Kickstarters I'm always hesitant of is like, am I really going to get back what I have put in? Because I have supported a Kickstarter that didn't get off the ground, and then you never see any of that donation back.
Oh, yeah.
So you just wonder, like, hey, where is this going? Let me just tell you, he's way beyond his goal, way beyond. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is because I think the everyday poker player needs to know it. They did not ask me to mention. I don't know, Gordon. I'm just telling you, if you want to get in at a cheap price to get one of these rail systems, just Google Pulse Kickstarter. It'll take you straight to the Kickstarter page. You can see all the videos about it. If it's something you want to participate in, I just am letting you know about it. I highly recommend it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you that if I'm doing it, you do it. I just think you need to make your own decision.
I think you should go and check it out for sure.
Because it elevates your game immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, you're going to feel like you're sitting at a poker table if you don't have the space to store a poker table or have a poker table. You can turn any table into a poker table in 9 seconds.
That was a lot of uses of the word poker table.
Pulse Kickstarter, do it. Just check it out. That is one of the things on the to-do list. We have lots of things on our to-do list this weekend.
Yeah.
Including enjoying beautiful weather, getting ready for the Arizona weather to come.
Yeah.
And also just all around stuff.
We'll probably have to mow my lawn now.
Yes, and mowing the lawn. So I think we've covered a lot of ground. Robbie Strazynski, we love you. We're in support of you. Hang in there, brother. We know that had to have been a hard decision. Yep. Check out the cruise if you want to go. Get a Factor meal. Get a new rail system. Go play the WPT game.
On your smart TV.
On your smart TV. And just have fun. Just have fun. So as always, Jill, it's a pleasure being around the table with you.
Likewise.
Elliott's wisdom cuts like a blade, dropping truth bombs with a poker parade.
Elliott Schecter joins us each week to say how he would rule in situations that come up in your games. And he's with us again this week. Elliott, how's it going?
Things are going pretty well. It's going nicely. How you doing, Joe?
Good. We've got this new toy behind us that I've been playing with.
I
So
see.
we'll see where we go with this, but it gives us a lot of opportunities open up with this behind us here. So it's been my obsession, my new toy lately.
Oh, looks pretty nifty.
Hey, we've got a call the floor. This is sent in by Ross Harrison, and this is an interesting situation because I even said before we jumped on here, like this is one of those things where we've all had a card that went under like this. So, in this case, Ross says the dealer pitches me a card a little too hard, and it shoots completely under the padded rail and disappears fully. The dealer immediately stops the deal, but the only way to retrieve the card is to physically lift the padded rail and dig underneath to grab it. He says, the game has been moving pretty quickly all night, which has been a relief. So I suggest that the dealer just give me a new card and let's keep going. The dealer calls the floor. The floor comes over, lifts the padded rail, retrieves the card, and he says, you would think this is where the situation would end. But
Sure.
this is actually where the debate starts. One player at the table says the card left the playing surface, so it shouldn't play. I argue that it never even hit the floor. It's still my card. The floor responded pretty quickly because he was right there, I'm sure. But he responds pretty quickly that the card is in play, but the other player visibly disagrees. To add injury to insult, the card that flew under the rail was the ace of spades, giving me ace king suited, and I turned Broadway, scooping a pretty good pot. The other player, at this point, is even more vocal after the hand is over, stating that if the card had flown off the table, it would be replaced, so this should be no different. The floor is called back over, and he explains that the hand is over, the card plays, and that's always been the way they have handled situations like that before. So he says, I honestly would have been fine with them replacing the card when it went under the rail, but I'm glad that it worked out as well as it did. I also think that the other player has a good point, though. Why would this be treated different than it would if the card went off the table? So
Yeah.
it is an interesting thought.
Yes, it is. And now we get a discussion of table maintenance. Yeah. And injury to insult. Isn't that usually in the other order? Isn't it insult to injury?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although in this case, it looks like it applied correctly. A card going under the rail is different than a card going off the table. And I commend the floor here for trying to be consistent. If that's the way that has always been ruled, then it should continue to be ruled that way for consistency's sake, if it makes sense. And it does. It didn't go off the table. So the house is justified by ruling this way. And he maintained consistency with house policies. Traditionally, when a card goes off the table, it is ruled out of play simply because it is now in the air. Between the time it goes off the table and hits the ground, it is in the air. Theoretically, and possibly may be seen by one or more other players. So it is generally almost always considered out of play when it goes off the table, for just in case. And this is a rule that dates back to the days when most poker games were deal your own, especially out in California, Washington, Montana, and so forth, where there might be multiple cards under the table. As soon as a card's off the table, you can't let it play ever. Guy will have a selection of cards he needs for a free draw. And it has maintained itself in the rule book for good reason. I mean, you don't want a card that has the possibility of being seen to be in play. Well, that is not the case when it goes under the rail. Nobody saw it.
Right.
Nobody could have seen it. Now, the only problem that could arise, and this is uh, a truly low odds scenario and long shot, is if there are multiple cards under the rail, in which case you've got a huge discrepancy in your inventory, and that's another challenge that would need to be overcome by the operator. So
Right.
generally, there should be no cards under the rail. There almost always never is. So there's no problem with lifting the rail and bringing the card back. Uh, this does need to be repaired. There shouldn't be an opportunity for the cards to go under the rail. The cards should be pitched in such a way that they land at or right in front of a player's chips, or if they're playing television style with their chips off to the side, they should still land in front of the player. If the card is going under the rail, that means there's obviously space between the table and the rail. There's two things that may be possible, and they both may be simultaneously possible. The layout could be stapled too tightly to the table, forcing the padding in the layout down, creating a gap from the table side. And the rail might not be fit correctly, therefore being pushed up slightly, leaving a gap in that direction. And both could be happening, leaving a nice way for the cars to get under the rail. The easiest solution is to go to your local home improvement store of whatever brand you choose and buy some 1/4-inch weather stripping that you would normally use for windows and get that under the rail. Now you don't have to worry about putting new layouts on or trying to readjust your rails, which are both rather time consuming and can be expensive. The weather stripping is pretty cheap. It only takes a one-time application, and boom, now you've got no gap between the table and the rail. Everybody's fine.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we've all, whether it be in a home game or a casino, we've all played in rooms where that's a possibility. Usually,
yeah,
if you're playing my style of poker, you might have a small enough amount of chips that even if they're in front of you, it can still go into the rail.
buy more chips.
But yeah, it's. I guess I never thought about it from the other player's point of view, where if it went off the table, then that would be different. But I can't imagine, especially in today's poker, where you could have multiple cards under that rail, because so many rooms have a shuffle machine, and it's
Right,
going to be counting the cards and making sure that you have all the right cards in there. Now, if it's hand dealt, okay, maybe that gets by, but somebody's going to speak up and be like, I only have one card.
right.
I don't know where it went."
Mhm.
So, it would be pretty difficult to have a card under there. I guess if you want to get super technical, somebody could slide one in there and be like, "Oh," but then when you fish it out, you're going to be like, "There's more than one card now."
Right.
Now you have to make a different ruling because there was multiple cards under there.
And that makes a somewhat interesting point that if you set the rule that a card going under the rail becomes replaceable by rule, then you're giving players the opportunity to shove a bad card under the rail and get a free draw, a
Yeah.
card that
I
obviously nobody has ever seen. And let's face it, I mean, now you're going to be slowing the game down to the point where now you got to do surveillance checks every time a card goes under the rail. You're going to grind the game to a halt. Yeah. You could also screw the rails down to the tables, but in places where you don't use side tables and need tabletop cup holders, that would become a pretty big challenge. Most cup holders sliding right into the rail.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, uh, if you've got multiple cards under the rail, it means they're not inventorying their cards correctly. When cards are coming out of play, they're generally reset uh, so that they can be brought back to a different table. Well, when they're being reset, it's obvious you're not going to have a card or two. They're going to be somewhere. So the hunt should be on, and that should be noticeable sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So if you're getting multiple cards under there, then the card room itself is being too lax with its property, and cards obviously being the most important property they have. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that the point here that Ross was making, he was, I would have been fine either way. That says a lot about, he's not trying to hide anything either.
Right.
So, it's funny too when someone makes a ruling, when the floor makes a ruling like that, and then it works out in the person's favor. Then all of a sudden the person is upset again. It was going to work out that way regardless. So just relax. It's not, nobody was being unfair to you to let that card play. If it didn't go under the rail, you would have had the same hand work out the same way. So it didn't have an effect on the hand at all.
Well,
So
and the cards are unknown. I mean, if you replace the card, how does anybody know that the replaced card isn't the exact same rank and produces the same result? Give me a break.
yeah, yeah. So Ross, that should clear things up. It is one, consistency, and
Yes.
two, it didn't go off the table. So it sounds like they did a great job. The
Yeah.
floor did a great job. The dealer did a great job getting the floor over there so that he
Absolutely.
wasn't the one taking the heat.
Right. The card was obviously not seen by any other player and didn't go off the table. That enough. Those two things are enough to let the card remain in play.
Yeah. So there you go, Ross. Appreciate you sending that in. If
Absolutely.
anyone has a call the floor that they would like to know how Elliott would rule, send it to podcast@anyupmagazine.com.
Please do.
Elliott, thanks again, and
You're welcome.
we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Patrick's a fish, but he's learning fast. He's all in this hand, might be his last.
Welcome to Hand of the Week, where Patrick, our resident fish, and I dive into listener-submitted hands. Each week, we tackle everything from questionable bluffs to hero calls and the hands that make you scratch your head. Whether you're looking for strategy tips or you just want to see if you would have played it any better, we've got you covered. Patrick, what's happening, man?
It's March, man. It's a
It
great
is.
month. You're thawing out. Spring training is happening. Golf
There's this
is happening.
basketball
The
tournament.
Masters. I skipped over that for a second. The Masters is less than a month and a half away. It's basketball. I mean, it's a great time of year. It's a great time to be alive, man.
Yeah. And there's poker to be played. We head out to Arizona in like 2 weeks.
What, 2 weeks?
So,
yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll be playing some poker with the A team out there and seeing who wins the main event. That's the big one, but we've got the side events going on as well. I'd love to get some cash games going while we're there. It'll be a blast.
How
out
long?
there.
How long are you going to be out there?
The tournaments run the 17th through the 24th, or the 22nd, I should say. We are staying a couple of days after, so we'll be there till the 24th.
Cool. Very, very cool.
We're going to try and take in some of that scenery out there. It's going to be beautiful.
I like it. Oh yeah, it is. It is
Maybe
gorgeous out there.
maybe a spring training game. We'll see.
Did you happen to see the absolutely lackluster New York Yankees captain give a pregame rah-rah speech for the World Baseball Classic?
I did not see that.
Well, for
will
anyone
have
that
to
wants a
look that
real pump up, or realistically, if melatonin isn't working for you at night, just look up Aaron Judge's pump up speech before the World Baseball Classic. It was a travesty.
Oh
Who
man,
decided
I've
to
got to
put
go
that
look this up now.
roided out guy at captain is beyond me. But that being said, yeah. So yeah, it's life is great. You've got a trip coming up, so
We've got a hand of the week that we can kind of practice our skills here.
I like it.
This hand of the week is sent in by Josh Hewitt. And Josh says, before we get into the hand, I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. And
Oh, not far.
he says, I played at the same table with you in Cherokee. He said he didn't introduce himself at the time, but we got into two big hands together. Interesting. I won the first one, which is about $100, and you won the second hand that was a lot more, and I ended up leaving shortly after.
Way to go, Joe.
well, Josh, and anyone else listening, first of all, I hope I didn't ruin your trip. I hope you still had a good time. And also next time, come say hello. I always love meeting the A-team at the table, so and away from the tables for that matter. So come say hello. Yeah, that's terrible. He didn't say I busted him. He just said I won.
Yeah, you
much
didn't
more,
bust him. He didn't say you were a bully or anything bad. You know, listen, it's a game. You got to have some winners and you got to have some losers. So, you know, I listen as one that tends to, you know, lose a decent amount. Listen, no hard feelings. Look, it's kind of like you know, what was that movie? Billy Madison. You know, it's not like we keep a hit list. You know, I mean, Joe and Big Mike and you know,
Yeah.
Elle for that matter.
Right.
Still has chips of mine in her pocket. Anyway, moving on. So Josh got a hand.
Well, let's
for
see
us?
how we do with this hand.
All right.
He says, I had a hand last weekend. This still has me shaking my head, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. We're playing 1-3, 8-handed, and stacks are about 400 effective. I would describe our main villain in the hand as a loose player who likes to see flops.
I know somebody like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna make a shirt.
Yes.
It's gonna be a smiley face. It's gonna be a yellow shirt. Yeah, with a smiley face, and it's gonna say, "Always see the flop."
I'll wear one that says, I bought this shirt with your chips.
That's really good. All right. It's kind of like the version of like I'm here with stupid, you know, with that
Yeah.
shirt on. That's pretty much it. Joe and Patrick walking around casinos, and it's just basically I'm here with stupid. All right. So 1-3, 8-handed. All right, I got it.
We're in the cutoff when the action folds to us, and we look down at the ace of diamonds, jack of diamonds.
Your favorite hand. Love it. All right.
Yeah,
It's suited at least, Joe.
it is. It is suited.
So maybe the only reason Joe would play this hand. Everybody limps to us, I'm assuming.
It folded to us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've only got 3 people left to act after us, too. So,
I mean, then
what
nothing
you gonna
crazy,
do?
right?
Well, I mean, I'm raising.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we don't have to go outrageous. I mean, I'm not talking like 20 plus here. You know, folding to us, I've got probably like 12 to 15 in my idea, but no 12. I'm going 12.
That's exactly where I was going. I think 12 is the sweet
Yeah.
spot, actually. It's 4 times the big blind. We have a villain in the hand that was described as a loose player that likes to see flops. So let's try to extract as much as we can. So yeah, $12. And
Yep.
Josh raises to 10.
Okay, he's right there.
I felt like he was going to go with 10. I thought that was going to be where he went. That's 3 times the big blind plus $1.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna make a big fuss with $10, but this is one of those where I feel like that extra $2 might help us start building the pot if we hit, and we can start making a little more, and it doesn't hurt as much if we miss either. So, that's the reason I would go 12 over 10, but it is what it is. He says, button folds, small blind folds, and the villain calls from the big blind. That means pot is $21. And the flop comes jack of clubs, 9 of spades, 7 of spades, and the villain checks.
Okay. Straight draw. We flop top pair, top kicker.
There's a spade draw too.
Oh yeah, you said 9 of spades, 7 of spades. You're right. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And 10-8 is already a straight.
Yeah.
A lot of other draws out there for a straight, but what do you think?
Cautiously confident. Is that a phrase?
Okay. What does that mean for your betting?
I'm gonna go a little bit on the higher side of half pot because if he's there or on a draw, I'm probably gonna. There might be a race, which I don't mind calling. So I think I'm going 10, a little less than half actually. If he comes over the top,
Okay.
I'm okay calling. I'll learn something from that.
I'm actually going to go on the other side of that. I'm going to go to 2/3. I'm going to go $14. I
Okay.
still feel like there's so many things, so many draws out there, but I still feel like we're crushing most of his range right now. So I
Yeah.
want to make him pay.
Yeah, I agree. I like that.
Josh goes even further in your direction. He bets only 7, which is a third
I don't
pot.
love that.
Yeah. Villain calls quickly. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, that's an easy call for not a lot of risk.
Yeah. He didn't have much to think about there. If he has any draw at all, it's not costing him anything. But Josh says he bet small because he didn't want to scare him away.
So Josh is very much more on the confident side. So I really
Pot
got to find
is
a way
now
to play
30
at the table the way that I play here.
Yeah.
I think I can see the board better. Okay. All right. So pot is what? So 7 and 7 is 14. So that's what? 35.
Yep. Pot is now 35. And the turn is the
ace of clubs.
of hearts. 8
Shit.
of hearts.
I don't love that
So
at
the
all.
board is now jack of clubs, 9 of spades, 7 of spades, 8 of hearts. And the villain checks again.
Yeah, that's nightmare fuel. I mean, 10's there, 5 6 is there, still got the spade draw, and we're sitting on our lowly pair of jacks, ace kicker.
Yeah.
You love playing ace jack. Let's just revisit that one real quick.
Yeah. How much I just love ace jack. Even suited. It's just so great. Love it.
All right. You're going to call me crazy. But I think we learn a decent amount if we check here.
I don't think that's crazy at all.
Ooh.
I don't think that's crazy at all. I don't think we have a choice but to check here. We only have a pair with straights out there. 2 pair combos are out there. Lots of those he could have called with 8-7 for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, suited connectors just crush us right now. We can't bet. If we bet, we get raised. We get raised by anything.
Everything.
Whether they beat us or not, we're getting raised if we bet here.
Yeah.
So I check, see the river, cheap, and reassess. However, Josh does not agree with us. Josh
is feeling
bets
confident.
$10. He bets $10, and the villain thinks for very little time and raises to 40.
To 50.
I called it.
Oh, 40. Okay, there you go.
Called that.
Yeah, I think you fold. I think you call yourself quits.
Yeah.
Great, cool. Fold jacks. If nothing else, too, throw the jack over. Let them know that you folded it. Just get out of there.
Snap fold. Yeah, for sure.
Quick.
I just feel like this one's the straight, and he's screaming, "Pay me!"
Yeah, the only way that
Hey,
the only way that we win here is if a 10 comes out and he was sitting on 8-10 the whole time, and we chop it.
And then we just chop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only way we don't lose, in my humble opinion. Yeah,
Yeah.
snap fold. Let me see another day. Josh does not
Josh
fold.
says this guy. Josh says this guy had been pretty splashy, and I figured he could be bluffing with spades or something like that. So he calls. So the pot is $115, and the river is the 10 of diamonds. So the final board looks like Jack of clubs, 9 of spades, 7 of spades, 8 of hearts, 10 of diamonds. So the straight is on the board.
That doesn't mean that old splashy, pot guy over there is not sitting on queens.
Correct.
Or queen 10.
Villain
So
immediately shoves all in for 230.
well, he's got the nuts then. Right?
What was the pot? What did I say? 115. So yeah, that's double the pot, basically.
Fold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fold.
Queen. King queen probably would have raised us pre-flop, but he could have any queen. Pot odds suck. This hand sucks.
It sucks. It absolutely sucks. Josh, I feel for you, my man. This hand sucks.
The only question is really why he bet so much, but I really think that with the straight on the board, he probably wants us to think he's trying to push us off the hand.
Correct. Yeah.
The negative side, if we win, if we end up calling here, we're really only hoping to split the pot. But if we lose a lot more than we can win. So that's why it's a no-brainer fold here.
Yep.
Josh tanks for a while and says, I just felt like he missed a flush draw and was trying to bully me, and he eventually calls. Villain tables Queen of Hearts, 10 of Hearts. So he actually turned to the straight, right?
Yep. Yeah. I was just gonna
And
say
then improved.
he got that on 4th Street, and then the 10 came out anyways.
He says, I suspect my flop and turn bet sizing are going to get some heat. But I'm excited to hear if you would have called the river bet.
No.
It sounds like you already knew the bet sizing was terrible on the flop, but the turn sizing isn't really the problem. There shouldn't have been a bet there at all. It's not about the sizing.
Let's play our favorite game, Joe. So let's go back. So you're sitting on ace jack of diamonds. The flop comes out jack of clubs, 9 of spades, 7 of spades. And you've got what do we say, 20 in the pot, 21 in the pot, something like that?
Yeah.
Where do you go there, and how does it change? So we had said, you said what, 15?
I think I went 14. Yeah, exactly.
14. Okay.
Pot.
Knowing what we know now, by betting that, do you think they come over the top then? And then we know?
Even if we just get a call there, they hit it on the turn. When that board looks that scary,
yeah,
then we shouldn't be putting money in the pot there.
Correct.
So to your point, putting $14 in there, whether they call or raise, if we make it to the turn and that board looks that bad, then we know something's up. and
Yeah.
that's easier to get away from.
Yeah.
But as far as the river goes, we could have saved a whole buy-in on the river. Not quite, but almost. When you're just hoping to chop there, we're losing a whole hell of a lot more when we lose than we can win when we win or when we chop.
Yeah.
So that's the reason.
It also sure sounded like Josh had a feel for this guy, and he might have. It's just a really bad set of cards there.
That's
just a
true, but
bad
even if
table.
you have even if you have a read on somebody and you have a feel for what they're doing, then they can still catch cards too. So you have to be aware of that. Just because
Yeah.
just because they're a loose player and they like to see flops doesn't mean they don't eventually hit them. So you can't let your mindset get clouded by the fact that they are a certain type of player, even when it's easy to put them in a box. It is tough to keep that mindset, knowing that you need to fold in those situations because you're like, finally, I've got this guy, and then all of a sudden you don't at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
tough to pull it back, but you got to be able to do it.
Josh, thanks for sending that in. That's a tough one. I hope you learned a little bit from that one. And like I said, next time you see me out, come say hi. And if anyone has a hand of the week that they would like to know how Patrick and I would play, send it to podcast@anteupmagazine.com. Patrick, we'll see you next week.
Sounds like a plan. I'll be here.
From the flop to the turn, we play it bold, chasing hearts and diamonds, never fold. In the booth, we're dealing stories that gleam. Poker legends rise on the 18.
With the new season of Survivor kicking off last week, I couldn't help but think about how much that game actually reminds me of poker. If you've ever watched the show, you know the motto, right? Outwit, outplay, outlast. That's been the heartbeat of the game for more than 20 years. And every year, there are players show up thinking they're going to be the one who pulls off the big move. They'll blindside someone and dominate the competition. They're going to become the next mastermind of the season, right? But if you've watched enough seasons, you start to notice this trend. The players who burn the brightest early also tend to disappear the fastest. The ones making the flashy moves in episode 3 are usually the ones whose torch gets snuffed just a few weeks later. Because the real key to Survivor isn't just outplaying everyone. It's outlasting them. And the same thing is true in poker. A lot of players will sit down thinking they need to outplay the entire table. They're looking for the highlight reel bluff, the hero call, the hand everyone will be talking about later. But poker, just like the show, isn't usually won by the person making the most dramatic move. It's won by the player who keeps their composure when things go wrong. The player who doesn't blow up their stack trying to prove something. The player who understands every session, every orbit, every hand is just another step in a much longer game. Because if you stay in the game long enough, something interesting happens. People make mistakes. Stacks start to shift. Good cards, they eventually show up. And that's when opportunities appear. But none of it matters if you've already busted out trying to make the big move. I like to flip the Survivor motto around just a little bit when it comes to poker, though. Instead of the order of outwit, outplay, outlast, in poker, it might be better to think of it this way: outlast, outwit, outplay. Because mental clarity is the real advantage. When you're tired or frustrated, maybe you're chasing losses or trying to force the action, that's when mistakes creep in. You start playing hands you shouldn't, calling bets you shouldn't, convincing yourself that this hand, this is the one that's going to turn everything around. That's not strategy, that's emotion. And emotion is the quickest way to get your torch snuffed at the poker table. The players who succeed long term are the ones who protect their mindset. They know when to step away, they know when to fold, they know that patience isn't weakness, and they're not trying to win every pot. They're just trying to be the last stack standing. So when you sit at the table this weekend, remember a little lesson from Survivor. You don't need to make the biggest move. You don't need to outplay everyone in the room. The real edge comes from staying calm, staying patient, and staying in the game longer than those around you. Because just like on the island, players who think clearly and last the longest end up with the prize. That's today's One Outer, and that's today's show. I'll see you next week, A-Team. And until then, I'll see you at the tables.